Hey guys and girls, welcome back to the channel. We're going to go over what we do on maintenance visits. This is a first time visit customer, so give you a breakdown of what all we do for that. First off, we provide our maintenance customers with filters, and we text them every time it's time, or every time they're due for a filter change, as a reminder to change the filters that we provide. And we got my setup here in a water hose. You can see this drain has had a lot of buildup coming out of it. So first off, we're going to get this started. We do a drain cleaning. And we use a product called Drain Solve. And it has to sit for 15 minutes. So we're going to start this before we do anything else. Alright, so just went up in the attic, had my partner. We poured a little bit more of that drain solve up there and then filled this line up all the way from out here to up where the indoor unit is. We're going to let that soak, so any of the buildup in this line will come out when we get ready to flush it, and then we flush the line with a couple of gallons of water after that. So now we're going to go over this outdoor unit. I'm going to take the top off of this and get all this debris that's down in here out. Then we're going to wash the coil. We're going to check all the electrical components, and then we also make recommendations on things that need to be done that aren't part of our maintenance plan. Like we don't carry insulation on our service truck or maintenance truck for pipes, so this needs to be insulated. This unit could be put on risers so we don't have this buildup of grass clippings up against the bottom of the unit. I'll get started on that. So this capacitor has a tolerance. It's a 45.5, so the 45 feeds the compressor side, the 5 feeds the fan side, and it has a tolerance of 6%. Well, the compressor side's reading around 40 and the fan side's reading around 2.9. So this is out of tolerance. Even though the system's been working, this puts an unnecessary strain on the motors. So we're going to replace this with an American-made capacitor. This one is made in PRC. We have a very low failure rate with American-made products. They cost a little more, but they last. So. And then I'm going to put this panel back on, so I want to make sure that we have how we're supposed to check the refrigerant charge on the outside. It has a subcooling of 10 degrees. Sometimes you have to refer to one of these panels. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back on so we can wash the coil. And I use New Bright to clean coils. This coil is painted, so it might be better to use a different product, but the light soil recommendations on the bottle says 8-to-1, so we're going to go with a 9-to-1 because I don't have an 8-to-1 on this, and that'll clean it just fine. It's not super dirty, but the whole idea of this is to make sure we get as much airflow through this coil as possible. So we clean that on all our maintenance visits. This is the reason why we put our equipment that we install on risers. See how this water's pulling up here? So when it rains, the water can't get out of the holes in the bottom because it's sitting directly on the pad. And then you get all the grass clippings that get on the outside of the unit and in it and clog up these drain holes, which is draining now that we've sprayed some of it out. But that's what risers are good for. We go upstairs and pour that gallon of water in the float switch hole very slowly. Alright, we're going to pull this off, see what we get out of the drain. And then my helper's going to go up top and flush it. We shall see what comes out of that. Alright, so we've been running for about 15 minutes. We're toddying up some things inside. I had to take a register down and seal it. And the subcooling was 10 degrees. And we're reading 5.2, so this system's a little low. We're going to go ahead and adjust that. So for you technicians and installers that mess with refrigerant, not homeowners, we added this refrigerant very slowly. So the PSI on the low side was around 110 to 120 before we started added refrigerant, and I didn't let the PSI get above 135 as I was adding it, so we're not dumping refrigerant in. So I'm not gonna have to sit here for 15 minutes and wait for it to stabilize and balance out a huge, fast dump of refrigerant. So our superheat, or actually our subcooling, is hovering right around 10. So we're all set here. Maintenance customers get a discount. So the material, did you change anything upstairs? So we've got a capacitor and we've got some refrigerant, and we used a pound and a half, or yeah, 1 pound, 7.75 ounces. There's 16 ounces in a pound. So half a pound minus a quarter of an ounce. So I'll show you what we do on the inside units on the next stop. Alright, so we're on the indoor portion of maintenance visit, and we're up in an attic. This is an encapsulated attic, but this is an existing customer, but we always check and make sure we have some overflow protection. We've got a drain, or a float switch in the primary drain coming off of the equipment, and then there is a, I don't know if you can see it with the lighting in here, but there's a pan switch here which has a float on it that's wired up to shut this equipment off if the drain gets clogged or if water backs up in this pan. So I'll take you through what we do. First, we're going to make sure that the heat strips work. Even though we're here in the summertime, we check all of the components. And this is 10 kW heat strips, and we're pulling 41 amps, so I know that the heat strips work. So we've got this coil here, and on maintenance we do what we call a coil treatment. So we spray a antimicrobial solution all over the coil, and then I'll have to get up in the return to check the actual side of the coil that the air flows through. This is the back side, so the air's being pulled through the other side of this coil. We want to make sure there's not any debris or buildup there. And then this drain, and this is, like I said, this is an existing customer, so this drain has been maintained consistently month to month. Let's see if I can get a better light in here. So I know that we don't need to do the drain treatment like we had, so we use a product that helps to prevent that buildup, and we follow the instructions for that. It's a tab for every 1.5 tons. This is a, find my panel here. Yeah, this is a 4 ton, and use at least 2 tablets for each 1.5 tons. And then 1 tablet for maintenance. We always do go to the far end of that, so we're going to use 8. And then we want to get them as far away from the drain outlet as possible. So we put them in the back corner of the pan. We don't get a lot of water up here, so it doesn't make sense to put, even though this is the farthest, this corner up here close to the blower is the furthest from the drain. Water is never going to get there unless there's an issue. So we want these tablets to actually be in contact with the condensate water, so we get them towards the return end of the unit. We make sure we put enough of this treatment on the coil to saturate it all the way through. Also, this motor does not have a capacitor. It's a module motor, so we don't have a capacitor to check. If it did, we would check the capacitor while we're here. And the only electrical components on this equipment for this unit is the heat strips, which we've made sure that they function properly, and the motor. So there's no other electrical components that can be checked on this particular model. Now we have a little bit of growth on the edges of this coil and this nozzle here, or this drain outlet. So we're going to mist some of this cleaner onto that, which will kill whatever it is and helps improve the air quality in the home or the business. We like to get that whole pan saturated too. Alright. My helper's outside doing the outside portion. I'm going to put this back together and check the pressures. So had this indoor unit not had these float switches, that would be a recommendation we would make to the homeowner on, you know, the necessity for that. So, you know, this drain pan that's in here, and then this drain line that is typically run on a slope. It's supposed to be run on a slope to the outdoor unit or somewhere outside where the condensate that this unit is removing, or the humidity that it's removing from the house that then turns into condensate and drains out. If this drain ever gets clogged and you don't have the float switch in this drain, it saturates the entire bottom of the equipment, the insulation in there, and then it starts to seep out into this pan if you have one, this backup pan. And at that point, it's where we are, it's code for this to be drained somewhere like over a door or a window, somewhere where when you see it, it makes you think, huh, something's wrong. I forget what the exact language is for where we are for that. And then if this ever gets clogged, then it overflows out of the pan all over your ceiling. And if you've ever had floor damage inside the house, if this unit's in a closet, or if you've ever had ceiling damage, then you know what I'm talking about. Code does not require float switches, but our whole goal as a company is to make sure we provide our customers with a better experience and as much or as little downtime as possible. So we would rather you have a blank thermostat, which is how we wire up these float switches to just make the thermostat cut off, so you immediately know there's a problem before we saturate the bottom of this unit, have it overflow out, come out of a drain, and possibly damage your ceiling or flooring. And then this extra float in this pan is in case this one fails, or sometimes this, you know, if it freezes up, that ice can melt and it overflows into the pan without ever tripping this switch. It's kind of a redundant system, but for some reason, float switches and overflow protection are not code yet in the state of Alabama. But we always suggest them to customers that we come across that don't have them, and we always put them in on our new installations. So we always recommend when we come out on first-time customer, anything that we see that you don't have that we think you need, and let you make the decision on whether you need it or not. But that's what we do for maintenance, most part. Different applications call for different things, but all in all, that's pretty much the gist of it. And right now it starts at $15 a month. At the time of this video, we provide you with your filters. We send you a text when it's time to change those filters. We come out every 6 months, clean, disinfect, treat your drain, check all the electrical components. We check your refrigerant charge, make sure it's where it's supposed to be, to help you have a better experience with your HVAC equipment, and make sure that you're only calling us when there's a problem and it's something simple that we can fix. And you get a discount. Anyway, catch you guys next time.